How to use CRMs for smarter B2B lead tracking. Your CRM should be a lead tracking engine, not a database. In B2B sales, if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen, is only helpful when the CRM reflects reality. Most teams still run lead tracking across spreadsheets, inboxes, Slack threads, and individual rep habits, then wonder why pipeline reviews feel like guesswork. The goal isn't a prettier contact list. It's a system that tells you who owns each lead, what happens next, and which actions actually create revenue. CRM adoption is no longer the differentiator. Execution is. In 2024, 73% of businesses use CRM software, and teams that use a CRM are 86% more likely to exceed sales goals, with many reporting a 21 to 30% sales revenue lift after implementation. When your competitors are tracking and routing leads inside a system of record, "we'll follow up when we can" is a losing strategy. In this guide, we'll focus on how to structure, automate, and enforce CRM usage so your SDRs and AEs spend less time updating fields and more time creating pipeline. Whether you run inbound, outbound, or a blended motion with a cold email agency, a cold calling agency, or an outsourced sales team, the same rule applies. Lead tracking only works when the CRM is where the work happens. Why CRM-driven lead tracking matters more than ever. Fragmented customer data is one of the fastest ways to leak revenue. Research reports 34% of businesses have already lost revenue due to customer data living in silos, and 92% say valuable customer insights sit outside the CRM in places like spreadsheets and chat tools. If your lead status and next steps live outside the CRM, reporting becomes unreliable and automation becomes guesswork. The other major leak is manual admin. 32% of sales reps spend an hour or more every day on data entry, time that should be spent calling, emailing, and running discovery. This is why teams treat the CRM as something to update later, and later turns into stale lead stages, broken ownership, and follow-up that depends on memory instead of process. The upside is real when you get it right. A properly implemented CRM can deliver 245% ROI, and many sales teams report productivity improvements when workflows are standardized. In practice, that means a CRM that drives routing, queues, tasks, SLAs, and accurate stage progression. So managers coach from dashboards, not from personal spreadsheets. Start with a ruthlessly simple lead lifecycle. Before you add automations, define a simple lifecycle that your entire revenue team agrees on and can explain in 1 minute. We recommend 5 to 7 lead stages with crystal clear entry and exit criteria, such as new, working, nurture, qualified, disqualified, and customer. The point is not vocabulary, it's consistency. So every lead in the CRM has a truthful, current status. Then enforce it with ownership rules and required fields that are tied to decisions. If a lead moves to qualified, require fields that explain why it's qualified, not a paragraph, but a structured set of drop-downs and a short notes field for context like pain, timeline, and decision process. If a lead is marked disqualified, require a reason code so marketing and sales can learn what bad fit actually means. This is also where most teams over-customize and sabotage adoption. Bloated forms don't create better data. They create avoidance, shortcuts, and reporting you still can't trust. Keep the schema opinionated and small. Add fields only when they drive a workflow or a report you'll review weekly, and archive anything that isn't being used. Make the CRM do the admin by auto-capturing activity. If your reps are manually logging every email, call, and meeting, your CRM will always be behind reality. Connect your calendar, email, dialer, web forms, and sales engagement platform so activities auto-log to the right contact and account. This is essential whether you're running in-house SDRs or working with a sales development agency, outbound sales agency, or B2B sales agency that touches leads across multiple channels. Once capture is automated, build workflows that create the next step automatically. Instead of trusting reps to remember follow-ups, the CRM should generate tasks, reminders, and queue views that tell them exactly who to work next and why. This is how you stop treating the CRM like a static Rolodex and start using it like a workflow engine. AI can amplify this when the data model is clean. Industry reporting shows AI in CRM can reduce manual data entry by up to 60% and lift conversion rates by about 25% through predictive analytics and next best action guidance. The catch is that AI only helps when your CRM stages, ownership, and activity timelines are accurate enough to learn from. A simple, enforced data model beats a fancy, chaotic CRM every time. Hardwire speed to lead and follow-up cadence into the system. The biggest lead tracking failure isn't we didn't have the lead, it's we didn't work the lead. Roughly 80% of sales require 5 to 12 follow-ups, yet many teams allow reps to stop after 1 or 2 attempts. That's not a motivation problem, it's a systems problem, and your CRM is where you fix it. Speed to lead should be engineered, not hoped for. Inbound leads should auto-assign based on territory or round-robin rules, trigger an immediate task with a defined SLA, and alert the owner when intent is high. Demo requests, pricing page views, contact sales forms. When you do this well, lead tracking becomes a real-time operating system. Every lead has an owner, a due next step, and an accountable timeline. Follow-up should also be standardized, so quality doesn't vary by rep mood or workload. Your CRM or connected engagement tool should push leads into approved sequences that match the stage. Working gets multi-touch outreach across email, calls, and LinkedIn outreach services. Nurture gets lower frequency value touches. Disqualified is suppressed from outreach. For teams using B2B cold calling services or cold call services, this is how you keep outbound consistent while ensuring every touch still syncs back to the CRM. Close the loop between marketing and sales to stop lead leakage. A hard truth: 79% of marketing-generated leads never convert into sales when qualification, nurturing, and handoffs are weak. The CRM is where marketing and sales should agree on what qualified means, how fast it must be worked, and what happens when it isn't ready. Without shared definitions and visibility, you get finger-pointing instead of pipeline. Build tight source tracking so you can improve instead of guessing. Lead source and lead source detail should be structured pick lists, not free text, so you can see conversion by channel, campaign, and segment. This makes it possible to answer practical questions like whether paid search outperforms webinars, whether your cold calling team produces higher meeting rates than a cold email agency, or whether a pay-per-appointment lead generation experiment is producing real pipeline or just vanity meetings. Finally, require feedback loops that are easy to complete and hard to avoid. When leads are recycled, closed, lost, or disqualified, your CRM should prompt a short set of required fields that explain what happened: timing, budget, authority, competitor, not ICP, and so on. This is how the CRM becomes a learning system rather than a graveyard of unlabeled outcomes. Track the metrics that prove your lead tracking is working. If you want consistent CRM usage, you need to manage from CRM metrics, not anecdotes. The most useful metrics are the ones that reveal leaks: speed to first touch, touches per lead, no-touch rates, lead to opportunity conversion by source, and pipeline creation by segment. When these are visible in weekly reviews, reps learn quickly that if it isn't in the CRM, it doesn't exist, isn't a slogan, it's the operating rule. Use these metrics to drive action, not shame. When a rep's time to first touch creeps up, fix routing, staffing, or queues, not just coaching. When touches per lead are low, adjust sequences, enforce task completion, and remove friction that prevents consistent follow-up. This is also where automation reduces burnout and improves data quality at the same time. If reps are still spending an hour a day on logging, your CRM will never be accurate enough to trust. Automate activity capture, keep required fields minimal, and reserve manual entry for high-value context that impacts deal strategy. Add scoring, routing, and AI as a tiebreaker, not a crutch. Lead scoring works best when it helps SDRs prioritize, not when it tries to replace judgment. Start with a simple model that combines firmographics, ICP fit, and behaviors, high-intent actions. Then use it to decide who gets worked first when the queue is full. Review the model monthly with frontline sellers and RevOps so you don't drift into the score said so decision-making. Routing is where the CRM becomes a real revenue lever. High-fit, high-intent leads should route instantly to the right owner, while lower-fit leads flow to nurture or a different motion. This is especially important if your outbound stack includes multiple tools for B2B cold calling, email, and LinkedIn, because if activities aren't syncing bi-directionally, your lead status is wrong by design. AI can be a meaningful accelerator when the foundation is clean. Research suggests predictive analytics can raise conversion by about 25% and reduce manual entry by up to 60%, but only when your CRM stages, sources, and activity history are consistently maintained. Think of AI as power steering. It helps you go where you're already pointed, but it can't fix a broken alignment. Make CRM discipline sustainable and know when to outsource. The final step is operational discipline, governance, training, and accountability that doesn't collapse after 2 weeks. Keep a short CRM playbook, train new hires on stages and required fields, and run pipeline and activity reviews directly in the CRM. When comp, forecasting, and coaching all reference CRM data, adoption stops being optional. If your team lacks bandwidth to operationalize CRM-based lead tracking while hitting quota, outsourcing can be the pragmatic move. Working with an SDR agency or sales outsourcing partner can help you scale outreach while keeping your system of record accurate, especially if you choose a partner that lives inside CRMs and syncs every call, email, and disposition back to your instance. For example, at SalesHive, we operate as a CRM-integrated sales development agency, supporting teams that need cold calling services and outbound execution without sacrificing reporting and hygiene. If you're evaluating vendors, treat integration quality as a first-class requirement, whether you're comparing cold calling companies, a B2B cold calling services provider, or an outsourced B2B sales team. Ask how bidirectional sync works, how lead status stays consistent, and what happens when multiple tools touch the same record. That's how you protect pipeline accuracy and get the compounding benefits that make CRMs worth using in the first place.